I always mean to and never can seem to remember to create a little back to school card for the kids' teachers. So this year, I'm leaving it to the last minute, but I am getting it done. And what I've got here, this is actually this hello stamp is an L Studio stamp that is a clear unmounted stamp. The purple here is the stamp was sitting here and there was a spill and it soaked into the wood. Doesn't affect the stamping at all, but anyway, it was a clear stamp that I mounted onto this wood block, this Hero Arts wood block, and I'm so glad I did, because ever since I did that, I use the stamp so much more than I ever used to use it. I mean, it just used to just sit out and not get touched. So I'm sprinkling it with, I stamped it with Watermark Resist, Ranger Watermark Resist, any kind of embossing ink, watermark ink, whatever you've got will work. And I'm embossing it in white on white cardstock, not just white cardstock, white watercolor cardstock. And there's a couple of ways you can do a card like mine. I like to start out with get the sentiment on first. You could actually wait and do it absolutely last, because the white embossing powder, it will totally cover over whatever it is you're doing. I just liked working this way instead. And what you can do, obviously, I'm just sitting here waiting for it to get, you'll see, it's kind of hard to see on video, but if you've ever embossed before, you know you're just waiting for it to get shiny and raised. And if you don't think you know what that will look like, you definitely will just as soon as it's done. And my heat tool is working nice and quickly here, which is always a bonus on a hot day like this. Okay, so once I did this, now I went about this a couple different ways. I tried this a couple different ways with a couple different products. I tried watercolors, I tried putting distress onto the nonstick pad like so, and then spray it with water and then let the paper soak up and pick up that color, because that's absolutely beautiful. In fact, it's so beautiful, and you can do it two ways. You can kind of swoosh it through the paper, or you can just blot it into the paper. And it's absolutely beautiful. It really is. But the thing is, I kind of want a certain thing here, and it's kind of hard to get if I go about it the way something like this. So instead of doing that, instead of just letting myself get wild there, I am going to take Festive Berries Distress Ink. Okay, and I've only got it around there on the side, and I'm going to go extremely, like, painfully light here. Okay, I'm not doing this very hard. I'm also just brushing it as gently as I can, and I'll go over this as many times as it takes. I'm not going to be in a rush. Okay, and I have the reason I'm using the big square tool on this is because that's the one that I happened to have out and be using. Then Mowed Lawn. Festive Berries and Mowed Lawn is great for Christmas, but it's also great for back to school with the smaller circular pad. Okay. And whoops, wrong side. That always helps. Okay, and I'm just gonna get a good amount of ink. I mean, I'm really gonna push the ink all the way around that embossed area. And this is why I like to do, oh gosh, I'm doing it again. This is why I like to do the embossing first, so that I can really see what area it is that I want to have going. And if I need to, I can come back and do a little more. I'm not too worried about it though. Then the next step that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take a paper towel and put it down. And now I've got everybody upside down. I'm gonna take a water bottle. Any water bottle will do, but I gotta tell you guys, this big Tim Holtz Distress Sprayer, I am really liking that. And I'm really liking it because I can just squirt just a few little droplets. And I'm just gonna repeat that. I'm barely flicking this thing with water, okay? I'm just barely, I'm gonna come at the edges now. This will let me, if I just barely, you see how barely I'm touching this? It'll let me drop just a few drops at a time, which I love. Okay, so there's two ways. Well, there's probably more than two ways. But I could do it like this so it's kind of spotty. I could also add a few more here and let it get really super saturated and really let that color like blend and drain. And I could pull it all the way out. I could kind of tap this paper to pull the color down. And the tapping just helps if there are If the color is getting kind of held up anywhere, the color will kind of help spread a bit if I do that. And let it dry. And once it's dry, we can color this, have fun with this any way we like. Here is a finished card for one of the teachers that I just made, where you can see I just used, instead of doing this all over, I just did the just barely add little flicks of water. And then what else is going on here? These are just wood veneer pieces coated in Distress ink. This one down here that's shiny, I clear embossed it. And then a little bit of Heidi Swapp Gold Mist that I'm always using, just sprayed on there, and a few little sequins here as well, just to add that little extra something fun. And it's done. And this one's ready to go. This one just needs to be trimmed up and treated in some similar fashion. And I've got my back to school cards. I hope you have enjoyed this little video. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment. I'll see you next time.